National Working Committee is meeting with the Gauteng Provincial Executive Committee today over the party's performance at the polls this year. Watching those developments for us is Samkele Maseko, who joins us now live from Boksburg. And Samkele, who can never forget that charged exchange between the ANC Youth League leader and some members of the Gauteng PEC around why there's been such a slump in performance in Gauteng?
Indeed, and you'd remember those comments by Colin Malaji, the president of the ANC Youth League, saying that the ANC performed dismally in the province of Gauteng because there was no campaign in this particular province, saying that the provincial leaders were sitting in Sandton and smoking cigars with their particular slay queens, and they were not effectively on the ground campaigning. And that has sparked why the ANC and other provinces that the governing party is going to, they went to the province of KwaZulu-Natal. The NWC did meet yesterday. There are recommendations on the future of the Provincial Executive Committee of that province and the regions of KwaZulu-Natal. Gwede Mantashe, in our previous discussions, had diagnosed the province of KwaZulu-Natal and the northern regions of that particular province where the ANC received a hammering. You come to Gauteng, where the ANC did not perform as well as they would wanted to, but they, in the view of the Provincial Executive Committee, are of the view that they did everything possible to salvage the situation, to get the ANC the percentage that they got, particularly when you look at the research that was done and how the ANC was perceived as trying and subvert the electoral declines last minute with those initiatives that were brought in by the Provincial Executive Committee led by Mr. TK Ngiza as the Provincial Secretary, who are going to speak to now, and also Panyaza Lusufi, the Provincial Chair. Mr. Ngiza, just the essence of the NWC visit as the Provincial Executive Committee, how prepared are you? How were the regional visits over the weekend?
I think they were very honest, proper analysis of where we are as the African National Congress in Gauteng. But that's what will help you. For you to rebuild and regain your strength, you need to assess yourself, where are you and how do you rebuild the organization. And I think the National Executive Committee, especially the Working Committee, would have seen that. And we're here to do that assessment so that we can be able to say how do we really move forward.
What are some of the problems that were raised in these regional general councils that we had over the weekend, particularly looking at the regions that you have in Gauteng? Tshwane, you've got problems within organizational structures. You go to Ekurhuleni, problems as well. Organizationally, you've got an RTT in place. You go to Sidibeng, governance issues. You go to the West Rand, also governance issues in some municipalities.
Service delivery will be at the center of our problems. People raise the issue of electricity as one of the factors that would have affected us. The issue of unemployment as one of them, and also the issue of crime. Those are some of the areas that our people were raising sharply. But outside of that, how the local municipalities at the time, they could not even collaborate with the province and national to deliver services to our people. And of course, there's a high appreciation of the coalitions as they are unfolding, because they are going to create a very good space for us to deliver services for our people, because the problem when it comes to our people is service delivery. The issue of water became a nail in the coffin when we started having issues of water in Johannesburg and many critical areas. And I think our branches would have raised those things very, very sharply. Of course, internally, how do we deal with each other and how do we renew the ANC, and how do we make sure that we don't just rebuild branches that must focus on internal matters or just focus on conferences, but we build branches that must focus on communities, that must deal and work with the communities in our areas. Like the ANC was formed to deal with the issues of the people. And I think the leadership of the ANC would have picked up that very sharply. We've told them branches are not in a hurry to go to conferences. We want to go and build proper branches, recruit membership that is going to help us, including people in sectors, academia, people in creatives and all other industries. We've lost students in their numbers for a number of reasons. If I must say, issues of NSFAS would have affected us. The workers, the working class, how do we deal with their issues? We have to deal with them. We have lost the middle class. How do we respond to that? So those are the issues that were being raised by our people yesterday.
Do you feel as if this is a witch hunt in order to try and disband the province for your posture of not wanting to give the Democratic Alliance too much power, that there is a perceived stance that they are eating into your electoral base and thus you can't give them too much power in the province of Gauteng, that you've essentially protected the province with a minority government?
We got a support from National in terms of what would have happened in the province. So it will be strange, but I also then have that feeling coming from leadership. I think they are coming here understanding that the renewal and rebuilding of the ANC must be at the center of making sure that the organization goes forward. And I think there's that sense across. And I can tell you, even what was coming from branches, except one or two issues that they would have raised, they're very committed and they're in support of their Provincial Executive Committee because they understand that there were limitations. We needed to work hard. In fact, the blame of losing elections lies in all of us. How we've dealt with the organization over time. Because you lose a support over time. You don't lose support in 1.5 years of leading a province. Things happen over time, and I think even rebuilding the ANC is not going to take us 6 months or 8 months. It's going to take us a lot of time to take us where it belongs, but it needs us to do a lot of work.
Tshwane, Mr. Ngiza, what is the final discussions around the governance of Tshwane, the reconfiguration of the executive of that municipality? What are your discussions with Action SA giving?
We're engaging all parties in Tshwane. We're getting closer to finalization of what must happen. Give us a few days, and then we'll be able to respond to that.
You're taking the deputy mayor position and the speaker position?
We will respond at the time where we're finalizing negotiations.
Are you going to be disbanded or not?
I don't believe so. I mean, I think the issue of the elections lies. In fact, all of us must take and that's what the president would have said, even his first NEC. There's no blame game. We must all take responsibility of what would have happened, rebuild the organization.
On Kanda all over again, collective responsibility.
Of course, collective responsibility.
That is Mr. TK. These are the Provincial Secretary of the ANC in Gauteng. I can see in the vehicles behind the National Chairperson of the ANC, Gwede Mantashe, has also just arrived. He will in essence be chairing this particular meeting. We can see him there in the biometric. I'm just going to ask my colleague Kwazi if he can quickly just grab his live view and also his camera as we try and speed ahead and see if we can't get Mr. Mantashe quickly. I'm just going to run there to the entrance. You have to excuse our shot there, and it will be a bit shaky. I know I will get into trouble for this. Mr. Mantashe, how are you, Mr. Mantashe? You are live on TV. Hi, you are live. Okay, boy. How was your meetings over the weekend with the regions? I know you were in the West Rand.
I was in West Rand. Then I can only talk about West Rand.
What happened in the West Rand?
I can't talk about regions.
Okay.
There's organization in West Rand. That is the difference. It is the best performing region in Gauteng. Though overall it was not the best. 42% is not a good performance. But for Gauteng it was the best performing. Okay.
So in essence, you are saying the organization is alive in the West Rand?
There is some organization there. You don't get into a vacuum.
What are you saying about other regions? There's no organization?
I've not been there.
But you just said West Rand is the best performing, and you are saying there is a relative.
It was best performing in terms of numbers, of percentage of voting in the national elections.
Is there a region where you reside here in Ekurhuleni?
I have not been there. Somebody went there. I think it was Comrade Paul who went there. I don't know how it is.
Johannesburg?
I don't know. I was in the West Rand, Maseko.
The capital city, Tshwane, where you reside for your government duty?
The president was there. I was in West Rand.
Okay, Mr. Mantashe, let's look at the overall picture. KwaZulu-Natal, it was an NWC over the weekend, discussing that particular item of the province of KZN and other items. What's the recommendation on KZN?
No, KZN, we must rebuild the organization from scratch. It's destroyed.
So you are saying, essentially, what are you saying, disbandment or not?
Not disbandment, rebuilding. Sometimes people think that to rebuild you must disband. It is not the best option. We've tried that many times. It's so difficult to rebuild from disbandment. But if you build from the scratches, from the rubble that is there, you build it better, faster.
So what is the characterization of KZN again? Can you please repeat for me, Mr. Mantashe?
What characterization?
You said that there is no
It
organization.
must be rebuilt. It must be rebuilt. That's where we're ahead by Zuma. Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mantashe. That is the national chairperson of the ANC, basically saying that disbandment is not necessarily the best answer because they've done it before and it's not yielded the results that they would have wanted. But that characterization of the province of KwaZulu-Natal just tells you of the extent of the damage organizationally that the ANC has suffered within that province. That is the elections and the biggest feeder of numbers for the province of KwaZulu-Natal. Second is Gauteng, where the ANC's National Working Committee over the weekend spent all of its time engaging with the regional executive committees, with the officials of the regions, and also with the branches of the regions. Mantashe saying that there is some remnants of an organization in the West Rand, but saying that it is the best performing in the province of Gauteng with 42%, and saying that he cannot speak on other regions of the province, but that does tell you of the diagnosis of the ANC of its particular branch of Gauteng, that's saying that there is no remnants of an organization similarly to that of KwaZulu-Natal, looking at the electoral performance of the ANC in Gauteng, and also the tassels that have been there, particularly that t-shirt of Panyaza Lesufi, "Don't kill Chris Hani," again, particularly knowing the government of national unity working with the Democratic Alliance. The PEC of Gauteng was vociferous in its view that they do not want to work with the Democratic Alliance, and looking at the various demands that the DA had when it came to constituting of a government, that the ANC in the province decided to look away from the Democratic Alliance and choose to form a minority government instead.
Yeah, and Samkele, before we let you go, I mean, there are jaws on the floor here in studio. The exact words from Gwede Mantashe were, the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal needs to be rebuilt. It's been destroyed. I think this must have been the strongest kind of critique from a top 7 member since the elections.
Indeed, this is the strongest critique by official of the ANC on the province of KwaZulu-Natal. You remember Gwede Mantashe and the president of the ANC, Cyril Ramaphosa, spoke about an ethnic tribalistic vote in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. I know in the NWC meeting with the PEC, where our colleague Anna Mhlongo covered that particular meeting, the same sentiments were being echoed by some PEC members within that particular province of KwaZulu-Natal. Gwede Mantashe saying that province of KwaZulu-Natal needs to be rebuilt. It's been disseminated, it's been destroyed by the MK party. Hence we are seeing a change of posture by the provincial leadership of KwaZulu-Natal when it comes to the issues of the ethnic mobilization, the ethnic vote, or the tribalistic vote within that particular province of KwaZulu-Natal, and also the diagnosis of the province of Gauteng, the intellectual hub of the country, the economic hub as well of the country, and the financial sector hub of the country, where the ANC is also being disseminated politically by political organizations, despite having a marginal lead within the province of Gauteng.
Interesting times in the party and perhaps in politics generally speaking. Samkele Maseko, live to us there from Boksburg for now. Thanks very much indeed.